We're working on the first challenge from the lesson, the range function in list basics. This asks us to create a list using range named all the numbers that has numbers from 500 up to and including 1000. So typically what we would do is use the accumulator pattern here. So the first thing that I want to do is declare my variable, and this is called all the numbers. And what I'm going to do initially is just instantiate that as an empty list, which I can do just with plain square brackets. Next thing that I want to do is go ahead and use a for loop. And a for loop will give me the opportunity to do something a specific number of times over a specific number of numbers, a range of values, integer values. I actually am going to use the number, each of the numbers produced by the range function, and I'm going to do that as it says, starting at the number 500 and up to and including 1000. In Python, the first number is always included and the last number is excluded. That is, the list starts immediately to the left of the first number and ends immediately to the left of the second number. So the first number is included, the second number is not. So this will give me the numbers up to 1000. What I'm going to want to do is I'm going to call my list and use the append method. This might be a new method to you, but each time we go through the for loop, the append method will add something to the end of our list, all the number, the list that I'm calling it with. And in this case, the thing that I want to add is the number that's being returned by the range object. And the last thing, I'm not in a function, so I don't need a return statement. I do think my list is what it's asking for. I'm going to go ahead and run the test and see if that's true. And it actually has given me an error, so let's kind of check this out. It says all the number is not defined, and I can see here that's just a typo. Go ahead and add that S. And now I passed the test. But this is maybe not the best way to solve this problem. I actually give two alternative ways of solving this problem. The first of those alternatives is going to be what's called a list comprehension, and you'll see that it's pretty similar to what we did, just in a more Pythonic or elegant way. And we're still going to use the variable num. That's what we're going to be adding to our list for each iteration of the for loop. So what I'm saying is I want to add num into this list using that same for loop declaration that I did before. So where num is starting at 500 and ending at 1000, it will be put into the list in each iteration, right? And in the end, what I will get is the same list as my previous for loop. It's just in a different syntactic way. We can see that also works, right? But of course, maybe the easiest way or the most elegant way that I can make this happen is to, again, I'm going to be using that same range function, 500 to 1001. That returns a range object. There's a class, much like string is a class, list is a class. There is a range class or a range type of object that's returned from the range function. Very similar to a list, but not quite identical. But I can turn it into a list by using the list function. Just list followed by parentheses with whatever iterable I want changed into a list. And again, I can run my test and I get a correct solution.